When the topic of cancer comes up, it's so easy to feel, well, just overwhelmed. But what if we could shift our focus, move away from fear and lean into knowledge? Because really, understanding the signs and knowing how to separate fact from fiction, that's one of the most powerful tools we have.
So let me just ask you straight up. Are you really tuned in to what your body might be trying to tell you? And look, this isn't about becoming a hypochondriac or worrying about every little thing. It's about being your own best health advocate. All right, let's get into it.
First things first, we've got to tackle a huge misconception. This idea that cancer is some silent disease that just pops up out of nowhere. That belief can be really dangerous, honestly, because it might make us ignore some subtle but super important clues our bodies are giving us.
And this, right here, sums it up perfectly. The myth, the fear, is that cancer just strikes without any warning. But the reality, the empowering truth that health experts want us to know, is that your body does send out signals. The trick is just learning how to read them.
So, what's the magic word here? It's persistent. We're not talking about a little cough that's gone in a couple of days or a random bruise you can't remember getting. Health experts are talking about a new or different change that sticks around for several weeks. That length of time, that's the real signal that should make you think, maybe I should get this looked at.
So let's start with some of those whole body changes. Things like, dropping weight when you're not even trying to, or feeling this deep, crushing fatigue that a good night's sleep just doesn't touch. Or maybe you're noticing you're bruising super easily in weird spots, or you seem to be catching every single cold that goes around. These are all general signs that something in your body is just a little off balance.
And that same idea of persistence applies to aches and pains. We're talking about a headache that just lingers for weeks, not just for an afternoon. Or nagging pain somewhere that you can't explain, having trouble swallowing that just doesn't go away, or a stomach that's constantly upset. Again, if it's sticking around, it's worth paying attention to.
Then you've got the physical changes, stuff you can actually see or feel, like bloating that goes on for more than a couple of weeks, or any new lump or strange change in your breasts. And remember, guys can get breast cancer too, so this is for everyone. Or maybe swollen lymph nodes that don't go down after you've been sick. A sore in your mouth that just won't heal is another really important one to keep an eye on. Now, this is a fantastic tool for a very specific set of signs. It's the ABCDEs for skin changes. So, take a look at your moles. A is for asymmetry. Does one half look different than the other? B is for border. Are the edges all ragged or blurry? C is for color. Is it a mix of different shades? D is for diameter. Is it bigger than a pencil eraser? And maybe most important, E is for evolving. Is it changing over time? If you check any of those boxes, that's your cue to call a doctor. Okay, so we know some signs to look for, but now we have to confront the biggest myth of all, the one that stops so many people from even getting checked out in the first place. And that's the fear that a cancer diagnosis is an automatic death sentence.
And this quote it hits hard, right? It perfectly captures that feeling of a diagnosis being something forced on you, a battle you never ever chose to fight. That fear is so real and totally understandable. But it's so important that we face it with the facts.
And here is a huge fact to fight back against that fear. According to the data, the overall 5-year survival rate for all cancers combined is over 55%. That means more than half of the people diagnosed are still here 5 years later. That is a long, long way from the hopeless situation that a lot of us picture in our minds.
And when we drill down into some of the most common cancers, the picture gets even brighter. For breast cancer, the 5-year survival rate is up around 85%. For colon cancer, it's 60%. And remember, this data is from a few years back. With all the advancements we're making, the outlook today is even better. These aren't just numbers, They represent millions of people living full lives after their diagnosis.
So here's the absolute key, the thing that ties this all together. Those high survival rates are directly linked to catching it early. When a tumor is found in its very earliest stages, the survival rate for something like colon cancer can jump to an incredible 95%. This is exactly why knowing those warning signs we just talked about is so critical.
All right, let's switch gears. We've talked about detection, now let's talk prevention. Because there's so much misinformation floating around out there. So let's just bust a few of the most common myths so we can focus on what actually works and really take back some control over our own health.
Okay, first up, the big one you hear all the time. Does sugar feed cancer?
Well, it's a bit more complicated than that. It's true that all our cells, including cancer cells, use glucose from sugar for energy. But studies haven't shown that eating sugar makes existing cancer grow faster. The real story is the indirect link. A diet high in sugar leads to obesity, and we know for a fact that obesity itself is a major risk factor for several types of cancer.
Next up, our phones. We are glued to them, so this is a totally fair question. The key thing to get here is the type of radiation they give off. It's called non-ionizing, which is just a sciencey way of saying it's low energy. Unlike high-energy radiation like X-rays, it doesn't have enough oomph to actually damage the DNA inside our cells. And after decades of research, scientists just haven't found any solid link between cell phones and cancer.
And one more you've probably heard, especially about breast cancer. Do deodorants or antiperspirants cause it? This idea has been floating around for years and has been looked at again and again. And the conclusion from all the major cancer organizations is clear. There's just no convincing scientific evidence that supports this claim. So, this is one health worry you can officially cross off your list.
Okay, now this might be the most powerful number in this whole conversation. Experts estimate that a massive 40% of cancers are linked to lifestyle factors, things that we actually have the power to change. Now, this is not about blame at all. This is about opportunity. It means the choices you make every single day, they matter a lot.
So what are these choices we're talking about? Honestly, it's the stuff we've all heard before, but seeing it here really drives it home. Eating a healthy diet full of fruits and veggies, maintaining a healthy weight, getting regular exercise, and of course, the big ones, not smoking and limiting how much alcohol you drink. These aren't just fuzzy suggestions. They are proven strategies to lower your risk.
So, after all of this, what's the big takeaway? It's that knowledge is your power, and early detection is your absolute best weapon. Don't let myths and fear paralyze you. Get empowered by the facts. The single most important thing you can possibly do is listen to your body. It's the only expert on you. And if something feels off, if you notice one of those persistent changes, don't wait. Make the call. It really all boils down to this. When in doubt, get it checked out.